So, in this lesson, you'll learn how subconscious beliefs operate beneath conscious awareness and silently oppose freedom. You'll understand why many people experience repeated failure even while consciously agreeing with truth. This lesson explains how hidden belief systems influence reactions, decisions, and expectations without deliberate intent. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to identify subconscious beliefs that conflict with truth and recognize their influence. We have to understand that our subconscious mind and our conscious mind work differently. I've said it before that our brain is way smarter than we are. And I know that because it's our brain, that kind of seems like it doesn't make sense. Well, it's our brain, so. But anyway, the subconscious brain stores everything. It's stored being in your mother's womb. It's stored being born. It's stored everything that happened in your life before your first memory. And it's stored every single thing that's happened in your life since, even the stuff that you've chosen or wanted to suppress. And so, based on emotions at the time and how you reacted in the time, your brain logs those things, and that's where it starts to throw those reactions out into your conscious mind. And it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it matters, but whenever we decide that we're going to get sober, when we decide that we want a new life, and we decide to start taking the next best step every day and do the next right thing every day, and continue to walk in our purpose and doing what God intended for us to do, our subconscious brain is for a while still going to throw stuff out there when situations arise to try to get us to do what we did in the past in those situations. And so until we get to the point where we override or overwrite those subconscious instant thoughts, we're going to struggle with them. That's kind of that's what Paul was talking about. It's kind of one of those things where we're battling flesh and spirit, when we're battling our conscious desires with our subconscious desires and reactions. Subconscious beliefs operate automatically and often contradict what a person consciously believes to be true. These beliefs are formed through repeated experiences, emotional reinforcement, and long-standing agreement. I've told this story before, and I'm going to explain it again. It's just like a child, 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, that you take with you to go to the grocery store. If that child comes to you while you're in the store and it says, I want this toy, or I want this candy, and you tell that child no, and that child gets mad, throws it on the floor, pitches a fit, and so you grab the candy or the toy and you give it to the child to stop them from pitching a fit. You just taught that child that no does not mean no, and if I pitch a fit, I will get what I'm asking for. And so the next time you go to the store, you do the same thing. You give that child the candy when they pitched a fit. You told them no, they pitched a fit, you gave them candy. You're reinforcing that behavior. The mind works exactly the same way. Your conscious mind says no to drugs. Your conscious mind says no to getting high. But your subconscious mind pitches a fit, and it sends pervasive thoughts. It's begging, gimme, 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 gimme. It's throwing out on the floor and pitching a fit. It is basically that's what would be the equivalent of what withdrawals are. It's throwing something out there to cause you to have to give it something because you taught it for all those years that if it asks and acts bad enough, you'll give it drugs. But that can be broken. That is called addiction, and that can be broken. And the way it's broken is the next time you go to the store and that child comes up and says, I want this toy, and you say no, and that child pitches a fit on the floor and acts up, and you just keep on walking. and you go cash and pay and check out and get your stuff, and you go to the car, and that child sees you, oh, well, I better go, and he jumps up and he comes and goes to get in the car, and he's mad, but but you stuck with the no, and you didn't give him what he wanted. He's not going to do that many more times at the store. He might do it a few more times, but you're now teaching him that when I say no, it means no, and it doesn't matter how you act, it's still going to be no. And over a period of time, and it's a whole lot shorter period of time than you would think, that child is going to stop pitching a fit. It's going to just accept the no. And then it won't be long after that where that child is going to stop asking, period, because it knows you're going to say no. Now, that is where you ended addiction, or where addiction can end, is whenever you have taught your brain that it doesn't matter how much you ask, and it doesn't matter how much you pitch a fit, the answer is no, and I'm sticking with that. Let me tell you about the harm of ongoing, lifelong recovery. Recovery is absolutely necessary. Your meetings, your steps, your group, your accountability partner, those things are absolutely necessary. But what happens is, during that recovery period, we're retraining our brain and we're teaching it, no, you're not getting what you asked for. And it don't matter if you pitch a fit, you're still not getting it. And we teach our brain over time, and over time our brain stops asking. But the only way that will become a permanent thing, to where you have truly found freedom, is like this. I'll explain it like this. If you go to that store with that child, and that child says, can I have candy? And you say no, and the child pitches a fit and you stick to it, but you tell that child, every single time he does that, you tell him, maybe next time. What you're doing is, you're doing your part to teach him that no means no, but you're also keeping hope alive. You're also keeping the potential alive. You're telling him, maybe next time when we come to the store, if you act this way, I'll give you the toy or the candy. And that is long-term recovery. When you get to the place in recovery where you have taught your brain to stop pitching a fit, where you've taught your brain that no means no, but you keep telling your brain, maybe next time, whenever you say, I'm still an addict. Maybe next time, whenever you say, addiction is a disease and full recovery is not possible. Maybe next time, because I'm powerless to this. You're teaching your brain that there is hope in potential relapse. There's hope in potential of a future situation. If it persists hard enough, you'll give it what it wants. And that's where people end up that get stuck in addiction, is because they keep telling themselves, maybe next time. You got to say no, you got to stick with no, and at some point in time, you have to get to the point where you say, there's no potential for this in the future. I'm done. I'm a new person. I'm not an addict, and I can't be persuaded in this, because I have a power over this, and his name is Jesus.